Does the right thing. We need to congratulate them and hold them up and say, good job, Senator. Senator John Cornyn yesterday grilled Kathleen Sebelius in the way that this is the old John Cornyn. This is the John Cornyn that people like David Barton. I think Barton was a huge supporter of John Cornyn.
So many of us were in the beginning.
And this is the guy that we knew and loved for so long. Mm-hmm. Not the guy we've been seeing lately, but it's the primary, so that John Cornyn is back. So let's at least say thank you. Thank you. Great job. This is the kind of guy that if you would remember, you'd be a hero. Look at John Cornyn yesterday in front of Kathleen Sebelius.
So I want to ask you about the navigators. The president's in Dallas, Texas today touting the Navigator program, which, as you know, are people who are hired to help people navigate the Affordable Care Act. But I would just like to ask you this question, if you would answer it. Isn't it true that there is no federal requirement for navigators to undergo a criminal background check, even though they will receive sensitive personal information from the individuals they help sign up for the Affordable Care Act?
That is true. States could add an additional background checks and other features, but it is not part of the federal requirement.
So a convicted felon could be a navigator and could acquire sensitive personal information from an individual unbeknownst to them.
That is possible. We have contracts with the organizations, and they have taken the responsibility to screen their navigators and make sure that they are
Can we stop for a second?
Sufficiently trained for.
Yeah. This is an amazing thing.
Really?
Look at what we have hired in our airports in Los Angeles. The airports in Los Angeles, TSA, is a crime ring. It's a crime ring. And do your own homework. See if the LA Times ever wants to do this story. Do your homework. Undercover cops, they'll tell you. How much time are you spending trying to bust up the crime rings inside the TSA in Los Angeles? Now we're talking about maybe we should have some guns at the airport. Really? We should have some guns at the airport? Hold on just a second. When somebody is shot in our schools, you say it's insane to put guns at our schools. But a TSA agent is shot, and you immediately say we should have guns at the airport? And I'm sorry, but the last person we should ever consider arming is the TSA. Can you imagine those guys with guns? Now, how is the screening process with our TSA? Pretty good, isn't it? Huh? Don't you feel comfortable? Don't you feel secure? Don't you feel like these guys, these are the best. These are the pros. Instead of hiring ex-military, people with honor and integrity, some of these airports, not all of them, you're in TSA in Dallas, it's pretty good. You go to Seattle, it's pretty good. You go to Los Angeles, not pretty good. And you sit here and you look at that and think, now I have to not only get a cavity search, not at the dentist's office, now I get to have those same kind of people, I'm handing them my information. You know those card readers that you have now at the you go to a restaurant, and the waiter will take this little miniature reader and he swipes your credit card and then keys it into the system, just plugs it into the system. But it's a portable card reader. They're very prevalent in restaurants. And you swipe it, and then that stays with the waiter, and then he downloads it in there. But it's
sort of like what Apple has, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like a little iPhone thing.
Yeah. And you just swipe it. Mm-hmm. And so that stays with them. I don't know if you know this, but that's a really bad thing, because there are crime rings that go to these people who are waiters, and they'll find the disgruntled one, and there's always a disgruntled somebody in any business. Find the disgruntled one and say, hey, listen, at the end of your shift, you bring me your card reader, I'll give you, $150. Okay. What skin is it off my nose? Give him the card reader, downloads all those cards, waiter goes back in. How much extra money can the guy make? That's how your stuff is being stolen. Now,
in your scenario, $150.
Yeah. So how much now do you want to give your information to former Acorn people who have not been vetted, people who are just they're not being screened? They could be criminals.
And look at all the information you're giving up on that site.
Everything bit of information.
Yeah.
Everything about you.
And you didn't think to qualify certain people, maybe convicted felons would not be the best candidates for this job?
This is going to be
really?
This is the one thing that nobody is talking about yet, but a year down the road, everybody will be talking about the identity theft that is coming because of this website. Obamacare.
Yeah.
Is going to be staggering.
And they don't care.
No.
They couldn't care less.
Nope. Don't care.
All of these problems, all of these so-called glitches help them get to the ultimate goal, which is single-payer health care, because this system will collapse.
And they'll have to fix it.
It's their fault. They didn't let us go where we wanted to go. You know, the old system didn't work. The system we really need is the universal health care.
And Bernie Sanders outlined that on CNN yesterday, saying, as he usually is, by the way, honest about his ultimate goal, which is we need to get, this is a fine first step. It's moving us somewhere, but it's too complicated. What we really need is a single-payer Medicare for all type of system.
Now let me give you what that goes into. A story from Venezuela from the Associated Press. Evelina Gonzalez, supposed to undergo cancer surgery in July following chemotherapy, but wound up shuttling from hospital to hospital in search of an available operating table. On the crest of her left breast, a mocha-colored tumor doubled in size and now bulges through her white spandex tank top. Gonzalez is on the list of 31 breast cancer patients waiting to have tumors removed at one of Venezuela's biggest medical facilities. She has been neglected by a healthcare system doctors now say is collapsing. Doctors at the hospital sent home 300 cancer patients last month when supply shortages and overtaxed equipment made it possible for them to perform non-emergency surgeries. Driving the crisis in healthcare are the same forces that left the Venezuelans scrambling to find toilet paper, milk, and automobile parts. Economists blame the government mismanagement. Are you seeing government mismanagement at this point? It is not too late, but you cross a bridge and you burn that bridge down, you don't go back to American-style medicine. Economists blame government mismanagement and currency controls set by the late President Hugo Chavez, for inflation, now pushing 50% annually. What causes inflation?
Oh, my gosh.
What causes inflation, Pat?
Wow.
Too many
dollars. Yeah.
Chasing too few goods. How do you get too many dollars? Well, one way is
keep printing for one thing.
Keep printing. The government controls the dollars needed to buy medical supplies, and it has not made enough available. I feel like I've been abandoned, said Gonzalez. She was diagnosed 2 years ago, but left untreated when she had trouble getting an appointment. Don't worry, you're not going to have trouble getting appointments. Doctors not allied with the government say many patients began dying from easily treatable illnesses when Venezuela's downward economic slide accelerated.
Where's this story been? Because it's obviously been a problem for a while. Almost everything needed to mend and heal is now in critically short supply. Needles, syringes, paraffin used in biopsies to diagnose cancer, drugs to treat it, operating room equipment, x-ray film, imaging paper, blood. Last month, the government suspended organ donations and transplants. Imagine that. At least 70% of radiotherapy machines, precisely what Gonzalez needed once her tumor is removed, now inoperable. 2 months ago, we asked the government to declare an emergency. They didn't respond. The Associated Press sought comment after the health minister at her press office did not respond to repeated interview requests. Last week, it goes on and on and on. I mean, this is our future. This is our future. There are so many spider webs that are involved in this, and what John Cornyn was pointing out is only one of them, and that is, can you protect any of this information? Will you tell me criminals are not involved? No, I can't say that. You can't. So how incompetent are you? But he goes on. Yeah.
Madam Secretary, in September 2009, the Quinnipiac poll said that 88% of Americans were satisfied with their current health insurance plan.
88%.
Which is why the president, no doubt, made the promise that he made. And as you can see, as of yesterday...
Think about that. How do you pass a plan when 88% of the people want what they already have, and you change the system completely?
Appeal to their heart. You appeal to their heart.
Unreal.
And you tell them that there are still people who don't have it as good as you, and this will help it. You'll be able to do exactly what you have. It's not going to affect your life in any way, shape, or form. Somebody else will pay for it, and you won't have to pay for it, and you won't lose your health care. Trust me. Trust me, trust me, trust me. You are safe. And if you just do this, we'll also be able to help little puppy dogs and sick, wide-eyed children.
Yep.
And everybody falls for it. That's how you do it.
They said 88% is great, but let's make it 100.
Yes.
And instead, it's not going to be that way.
Instead, it's going to be no one.
It's already going down. Do that same poll, Quinnipiac, today.
Day afternoon, the White House website says if you like your plan, you can keep it, and
Still
you don't
says
have
that.
to change
Still
a
says
thing due to the health care law.
Still says it.
Yeah.
Well, we know that lying to Congress is a crime, but unfortunately lying to the American people is not.
This is the John
I'd just
Cornyn
like
we
to
used
ask
to
you a
like.
simple true or false question. Is that statement on the White House website true, or is it false?
Sir, I think the statement
Is it true
that
or is it
you
false,
can
Madam
keep
Secretary?
Your plan. The vast majority of Americans who are insured are in the employer market, or in public plans, or in veterans plans. And
True or false is really easy. Is it true or
plans have
false?
stayed in place, and
You'll be
continue
able to keep
offer
your plan
benefits.
if you like it.
The
True or
11
false?
million people who are in the market, a majority of those individuals will keep plans that now will have stronger coverage, and others will have to choose, if they have a brand new plan and not a grandfather, have to choose of a plan that they
My time is
no longer
limited,
get
so
medically
I
underwritten.
will just ask that the record note that you have refused to answer my question whether it's true or false. So let me ask you another question. Isn't it true that in June of 2010, the department that you head estimated that between 40 and 67% of those buying their insurance on the individual market would lose grandfather status? And isn't it also true that on the same date, that your department estimated that 66% of the people in small employer plans and 45% in large employer plans would lose their grandfather status by 2013? Isn't that true?
Senator, that is an inaccurate use of those statistics. What the
It's not true?
Senator, could I answer the question?
No, she's not.
If you can
No,
answer
she's
whether
saying
it's
it's not.
true
I will tell you
or not.
what the statistics mean.
She's going to tell you what the statistics mean.
She's not going to tell you they're true or false.
Right. I'm just going to tell you what they mean to us. I'm going to give you my spin on those numbers. You can't get a straight answer out of these people. You just can't get it.
The fact that she has to explain it shows you those are the numbers. I mean,
Yes.
they're on page, I think it's 32,554 of the Federal Registry. They're right there. You can look at them. They knew about them in 2010.
Yeah, but explain those numbers. Can you explain them?
Yeah. He actually, John
Yeah.
Cornyn did a pretty good job
Yes,
explaining
he
them,
did.
actually.
Yeah, he already explained it. She didn't need to re-explain
What
it.
is her
These guys
explanation? Does she go on?
He goes on. Yeah, play it. You have the rest of it?
No,
okay.
that's where it
you
ended.
You got to go back and the Blaze has the full clip. The Blaze goes on where she explains it, and he's like, you can't get a straight answer. And here's something else. I want the record to show you cannot do anything in this administration and get fired. You can't do anything and get fired. You can lie to the American people. You can destroy things, but you cannot get fired from this administration. I just want the record to show that. I mean, it's powerful. That's the John Cornyn that we're looking for. That's the John Cornyn. That's that kind of questioning, this kind of stance, not in an election year, is exactly what Americans are looking for. Republicans, at least, are looking for. Straight talk. Yes or no. It's not that complex. Yes or no. Why is it you're the only ones that can't answer yes or no questions?
And look how, they will not. Jay Carney won't. The president won't. Kathleen Sebelius won't. None of them will just answer a straight question with a straight answer. They can't do it.
Did you know those numbers prior to going out and saying this?
Well, Senator, I'd like
yes
to
or no?
go ahead and
Did you know?
Could
Did you
let
know?
me explain?
Yes or no?
Can you let me explain?
No. Did you know?
I need to explain that. Well, let me tell you what those numbers mean.
That's all. That doesn't matter.
Jeez.
Did the president come out and say, well, it looks like some things were slipped into the bill in 2010? Yes or no? Here's the audio. The answer is yes. Did he go back out and then repeat the lie after he said it looks like it's not true? Yes. They won't do it. They won't do it. And there's very few people up in Washington that have the balls to go up and say these things and ask these questions. It was nice to see the old John Cornyn return yesterday.
Well, Mr. Senator, that morning I had an egg white omelet with broccoli and had breakfast potatoes.
Wait a minute, that's not anything to do with the question.
And I didn't have a full bottle
Here's
of ketchup.
Here's our sponsor.